Morning. Hello. Welcome to our Friday class. I was actually kind of thinking about how I'm a little bit sad that I changed it to Hatha Yoga. I think I need to put it back to Rainbow because I miss not seeing that on the screen. Anyhow, welcome to our yoga class today. We're going to be taking it nice and steady and easy today in light of the crazy season that we're hitting into. It kind of feels like life is just crazy. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to just take today as a reminder for ourselves to just take things down a little bit, especially because it's going to get a little crazier as the next couple of weeks roll around and we're busy with preparing, shopping, and snow if you are in a place where there's snow. If you have a bolster, we're going to start today in a ramp position. And I love using my bolster for this, but if you don't have a bolster at home, you're absolutely welcome to use a pillow. You can also use yoga blocks. If you are using a yoga block, you'll go ahead and T-shape it. And I'm going to take my yoga block and kind of set it like a T, and my other yoga block is going to be kind of midway down where you'll rest your shoulders. You can even bring your yoga block up a little higher so that your body's kind of resting. So if you don't have a bolster, you can do this. And you can also put a blanket or a pillow on top so it's a little bit more comfortable so you don't have those hard edges resting on your body. If you have a bolster or some pillows, take your yoga block and you can choose to have it lengthwise or kind of horizontal or vertical, however you want to, and you can rest your yoga block or your yoga bolster directly on top so you create a ramp. If you need a little higher, you can use a second yoga block. We're going to go ahead and rest our sacrum right up the edge of the yoga block, the bolster. And if you'd like to experiment with your legs today, I'm going to come into a Supta Badakanasana, so in a supine butterfly pose. So I'm going to lie down, kind of resting my spine along the length of the bolster. Just kind of find my way here. And for those of you that are kind of going through low back issues, if this doesn't feel good or it just feels like it's too much, absolutely just adjust it, okay? So, and sometimes even coming up a little higher will put a little less pressure, so you might want to put a double block under there. Go ahead and bring your soles of your feet together if you'd like to. This is optional. You can rest your feet in a constructive rest pose. Just kind of find your way here, find your place. Settle your body, settle your mind, settle your heart. Maybe you let your arms just kind of flare out to the sides. Let's let your chest open, your eyes soften. In light of the busy time that we have ahead of us, I know a lot of us are grateful for that time too, because it represents being with family, represents celebration, represents so many different things, union, being together. So I know for a lot of us, this is also a very busy time, but also a really exciting time because we get to see the people that we love the most and spend time with them. But nonetheless, it's busy and it's can be a little hectic. So today's practice is all about taking it that step down, just kind of finding a little bit of space for ourselves. And in the kind of slurry of busyness, your mind might want to wander. You might get that thought of, oh, I have to do that, and oh, I need to do that. What I'd like you to try to remember is that those to-do lists will always be there. They'll always be waiting for you at the end of your practice. So if you find yourself kind of popping into one thought bubble and then another, take your attention back to my voice. The sound of the words, maybe the sound of the music playing, maybe the sound of your voice entering and leaving the body. And remind yourself that this time is your time. Your time to put yourself on that to-do list. That notion of self-care, self-love, self-compassion. Because remember, we can't take care of others if we don't take care of ourselves. So as you're here, I'd like you to see if you can make yourself 10% more comfortable. Maybe let your shoulders drift down a little bit away from the ears. And let us take a few nice clearing breaths. A nice deep purifying breath into the belly. And a nice exhale out of the mouth. Breathe in. And breathe out. Just continue to breathe in through the nose. And start to notice the sound that you can create with your exhale. Soften your temples, soften your eyes. Letting this space be a moment to be and not to do. This is where we honor our space, we honor who we are and our needs as that act of self-care and compassion. I'd like you to set an intention. It doesn't have to be a lofty, big intention. It could be a really simple one. Maybe it's a word, maybe it's an I am statement, maybe it's just a simple 3-letter statement that resonates with you right now. And then when you're ready, if your knees are open in Supta Badakanasana, maybe you bring the knees towards center. Perhaps you extend the legs if that feels comfortable for you. If your legs are already extended, stay there. Beautiful. Just open up the heart space and relax and through the shoulders. And whenever you're ready, if you're on a bolster or if you're on some yoga blocks, we're going to just take our time to get off them. You can either roll yourself to a side and use your unsprained wrist to pull yourself up and bring yourself up to seated. And we're going to just take our props and set them off to the side. We're going to set them just off in reach, that we have them just in case we need them, but we're going to just let them kind of have a chill out there. Let's bring ourselves down to the floor. Bring in our knees in towards our heart. Reset your low back. And maybe find your rocking body side to side. In yoga, we redo poses over and over again. But each time we approach a pose, we come to it with a different body that day, a different outlook, a different perception. Sometimes you do a pose 100 times, and that 101st time, suddenly something clicks that you didn't click into it before. It's like this wonderful, curious, exploratory kind of burst. Just kind of like, wow, something resonated today. When you're ready, come back in through center. And let's go ahead, keep our left knee in towards our chest. Extend the right leg long and set the ankle down to the floor. If it feels uncomfortable on your low back or on your hips, bend your knee. Pull your left knee in towards your chest. Give your low back a little release. Extend the left leg to the sky. Rest the hands behind the thigh. Point and flex the heel. First, honoring our feet for all that they do and all the miles that they put in for us. Maybe you give an ankle twirl. Maybe you wiggle the toes while you're doing it. Maybe you rotate the ankle in a different direction. Relax the shoulders. Beautiful. Make your way back in towards center. Let's go ahead and bend that left knee. And we're going to extend that left arm out to the side. We're going to pull using our core, take our hips and just lift them and twist. If you're looking for a little more intensity, feel free to extend that left leg. Reach it long. Again, kind of working with your own range of motion. Make sure that you keep your core engaged. Make sure you keep your upper body soft, but grounded. Find this range that works for you. Stretching out the IT band, the glutes, giving the upper part of the spine a little twist. Continue to reach down through your tailbone to create a bit of space through the vertebrae. If you find yourself hiking that left hip, I want you to reach that hiked hip down, tailbone down. Relax into this space. Don't fight it. Be with it. Come back through center. Bend your left knee. Bring it back in towards your heart. Keep your right leg long. And this time, maybe you create some rotations with that shoulder, that left hip. Maybe take the left hand to the left knee and just guide it into some circles here. Working through the hip joint. Working out any dinks, any kinks, any kind of scratchiness, or any kind of crunchiness. Maybe there's nothing and it feels really fluid today. Honor that as well. Be curious about that. Notice how it feels today versus other times you've done this. Maybe today it feels a little better. Honor that. Really put that up there as something that we need to recognize. Reverse the direction. Notice the body moving, this wondrous thing that does so much for us, that is put through so much day to day. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and bring that left knee in towards the chest. Bend the right knee. And we're going to lodge that left ankle over the right ankle, our right knee, sorry. Finding our figure four. And maybe our figure four is going to rest here. Maybe we're going to bring it in a little closer. Now, if you've got a strap at home and reaching behind the thigh here, if in the event this just feels like it's too much or your limbs don't feel like they have that length, taking a strap underneath the thigh and bringing it in is a wonderful tool to use to be able to gain access to this wonderful hip opener. What I don't want you to do is feel like you have to strain. And what I often see sometimes is, especially individuals who might have a little bit of different lengths in their arms or maybe something going on in their shoulders, they're lifting and they're pulling up and they're working so much of the upper body. I want you to feel comfortable here and relaxed. Let the left hip open. If your left knee is really crowding in towards your chest, see if you can open that space and invite roominess. Great. Go ahead and set your right foot down to the floor. And this time we're going to cross our left leg directly over our right. And we're going to come into a supine cow face. So we're going to pull the knees in towards the chest. Now there's a couple of options here. You can rest the hands at the knees and just pull in. You can take them behind the knee or behind the thigh and pull in. This is a really deep glute stretch. If you have that range and it's accessible to you, you can grab for your ankles and kind of find that knotted shape, if you will. This is really an option. That's all it is. This is quite intense. We do this sometimes seated, and this can feel like quite a lot. So maybe we want to bring the ankles down and just rest those hands behind the thighs. This is just going to get really deeply into that low left glute here, that not low, but that glute. Relax your shoulders. Notice if you're creating any resistance within the body. Remember, today is about slow and steady. Try to relax the body and notice the resistance. Don't try to analyze it or judge it. It's our natural tendency to just want to tense up a little bit, especially if we've got any sort of, it feels a little tight or feels a little bit out of range. Just try to relax into it, and you'll see this beautiful thing that happens. The body starts to let go. Terrific. Release the ankle. Set the right foot down, uncross your left. And let's just do a few little windshield wipers here. We're going to take them nice and slow and steady today. So rest the hands at the thigh, at the side of your body, and let's let the left knee kind of drip in and let the right knee, the right inner thigh just open. Feel that opening of the left hip. We're just going to hang out here for a moment. Just let the left hip open, let the chest stay open, relax your eyes. You could even keep your eyes closed. Beautiful. Let's bring our knees back in through center. And we'll let that right knee drip down and open up the left. Again, bring awareness to one side and then the other without judgment. Be kind to yourself. Come back through center. Bring your knees in towards your heart. Rock your body side to side. Or maybe today you stir the pot. Spreading the sacrum. Let's explore. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and reverse that direction. Other way. Breathe in, breathe out. Great. Let's make our way back in towards center. Set your feet down to the floor. And this time take your right knee in towards your chest and open up your left hip. So even here, if you'd like to use a strap to set it underneath your thigh, if that feels better, please do. If you've got knee issues and putting pressure on the knee doesn't feel good, then bring it back behind here. Pull the knee in. Let that low back release. Let the glute release. From here, bring your right knee about hip height. And so you want to make sure your hip is nicely aligned with your knee. Take your right arm out to that half T shape and then twist towards the left. But make sure your pelvis comes with you. Relax that right leg down. Let the side of the body, the IT bend, relax, melt into it. Find that beautiful space for yourself here. Drop that hip down. If it wants to hike up, try to bring that tailbone down. Imagining that if you're looking at your body, what happens when we create space for ourselves from a physical standpoint. No different than when we create space when our mind is busy. How often have you got yourself to a point where you're so busy you can't even think? You don't even have time to take that moment to have a cup of coffee to just quiet down. But then when you do, your perception, your perspective, your outlook changes because you've given yourself that moment to just reset. Come back through center. Bring that right knee in towards the chest. Rest the right hand on top of the knee or underneath, and maybe stir the pot here with this right hip. Just some gentle rotations here. Loosening up, letting go. Notice any crunchy bits. And then if you can, reverse the direction, other way. Good. Beautiful. When you're ready, bring it back in through center. And we'll bend that left knee and we'll set the right ankle over the left and just open up the hip. Reminding ourselves that this is just enough for some of us. So please just explore that. You can even, if you want to, reach for that yoga block and set that left foot on top of the yoga block to just raise it up so that you can get a little bit more to that hip if reaching back for that thigh doesn't feel accessible. If you'd like to, you can bring that left thigh in towards your center. You can absolutely use a strap. Let's try to relax into that right hip. Let the knee just open up. If your eyes are open, soften your gaze. Release the brow space. You make yourself a little more comfortable. Beautiful. Right, your left foot down. We'll cross our right over our left. Now, for some, this might be just the perfect amount to stay here. If you'd like to bring your knees up towards center, you can. If you want to reach for your ankles, you can. Like you're creating a knot with the body. Again, and just explore what feels right for you. This might be good. This might not. And one side might feel totally different than the other. So maybe you did the other side and it felt a little bit harder to reach or a little bit more challenging to get into. And then you get to this side and it feels a lot more open, a lot more accessible. Or maybe the reverse is true, right? Maybe it's the opposite. Nice job. Set your feet down. Unwind your right from your left. Set your feet down to the floor. Beautiful. And from here, let's go ahead and take that right leg up to the sky. Nice and tall. And I just want you to point and flex your heel. Notice how it lengthens the back of the leg. Notice a bit of the movement in the ankle joint. Beautiful. Then go ahead and create some rotations through the ankle. Maybe do 3 or 4 in one direction. This is about just being in the space, just taking it down a notch. Good. Let's reverse the direction, other way. Notice how it feels on the arch, on the toes. How often do we ever give our ankles a little twirl? I don't do it too often. Not enough. But these feet are taking us on this journey. Got to give ourselves some love here. Good. Come back through center. Bend the right knee. Set your foot down. Let's come back into that little windshield wiper here. This time dropping the right knee in towards the center and letting the left leg open. Just stay here for a few breaths. Good job. Pull up and let's come back towards center, other side. Just let the knees kind of fall over. Beautiful. Let's come back through center and we're going to extend the legs long and bring the inner thighs towards center. Reach the arms if you can, if it feels all right, to overhead. And we're going to lengthen through the fingertips and through the toes. And what I'd like us to do here is what's called a contract and release. So you know the feeling of when you contract your hands and you create a fist and then you release them and let your muscles go. And we're going to do the same idea here. But I want you to reach long through the spine. Now, let's say you can't reach your arms overhead because it feels too much on the shoulders. Let your hands rest at the side here. We're going to take a nice big inhale. And I want you, as you inhale, reach your body. Really strengthen all the muscles. Really even contract the hands. Tighten the body. And then on your exhale, big exhale, release your body. Breathe in, contract, lengthen, energize. And then let it go. Breathe in, reach the body long. Exhale. Let it go. Last one. Breathe in, reach the body. Tighten the muscles, tighten the body, tighten the core. And let it go. Bend the knees, interlace the fingers, bring the knees in towards the chest. And then you can roll yourself to your side. You can absolutely have some fun with this, ladies. Rock your body like a rocking chair. Massage that spine. You know, I used to see my mother doing this. I used to think she was crazy. I know why. It felt so good on the spine. And then whenever you're ready, make your way up to standing or seated. Sorry, stay seated. Now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of neck work next. So if you want to be lifted in a position so that your sacrum is slightly raised off the floor because it feels a bit better on your back, please go ahead. I'm going to prop myself on my bolster. So if you don't have a bolster, that doesn't matter. You can just use a towel or a blanket to raise yourself up. And you can notice a difference when you're sitting a little bit raised. You give your hips a little bit more space and your back a little bit more space, and it actually feels better. So for those of us who are sitting on chairs that have a slant, you got some back things going, prop yourself up, okay? you'll feel better on your back. So from here, just rest our hands at our thighs here. We're just going to roll the shoulders. Just start here with just some gentle shoulder rolls. So here we're just working through the shoulder girdle, but we're also kind of noticing the traps here. So the upper traps, the back part of the upper traps that kind of come down from the back of the neck. So just kind of let yourself kind of flow here with these beautiful circles. Good. Soften your jaw here. Even if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Just feel the shoulders moving and relaxing. And then maybe when you're ready, go ahead and reverse the direction. It's kind of rolling through the shoulders. Nice. Just beautiful. Feel that big circle, kind of the shoulder girdle moving back and then up and over. Oh, beautiful. When you're ready, I'd like you to bring your shoulders so that they're kind of like pulled back, but midway. So if you had a side view of your body, your ear would be above your shoulders, nicely aligned. And that's really where we want to keep our body: ears, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles in one kind of line from top to bottom. Now, with your arms resting at the side, we're going to dip our chin towards our chest. Let the shoulders drift down. Keep the core gently pulled in, just enough so that you keep support through the pelvis as you lower your chin down towards your heart. Now here, I'd like you to breathe into the back of the neck. Exhale, let the shoulders drift away. Try to make yourself even just 2% more comfortable. I know a lot of us hold our tension in our shoulders. So my challenge to you over the next couple of weeks, while we kind of move ourselves into this space of lots of activity, lots of things to do, people to see, cards to write, newsletters to write. Just take a moment maybe in your day and just let your neck release. And just remember, it'll all get done, right? It'll all get done. It might be a little late. It might not be exactly how we thought it would look like, but it'll all get done. Take a load off. And then gently go ahead and lift your chin. Find that neutral spine. So that neutral look is where your chin is parallel to the floor. So we're not dipping, we're not lifting. From here, we're going to gently do some rotations in the neck. And I want you to kind of assess how it feels on the opposite side as you rotate. Notice if your ear comes in, try to keep your chin neutral as you rotate to one side, and then come through center, rotate to the other side. And we're just going to flow here. Just kind of allow some gentle movement. I don't know if you've ever had kids or you've done it yourself, but my son comes home from hockey and he'll crack his neck. And I'm always like, oh my God, you have to stop doing that. He goes, oh, but it feels so good. I'm like, I know, but you have to stop doing that. And I'm like, you just have to take care of that neck. You need that neck for the rest of your life. So when we rotate, we want to stay tall through the back of the neck. And that goes for any part of the spine, right? We want to be spacious. We want to be able to create the rotations with as much space for the discs to be able to be free of any compression. So as you're moving, just imagine there's that little pull in the back of the head that lifts the spine a little bit in between that occiput and the upper part of the shoulders, so that you're staying tall through the spine. Good. The next time you make your way over towards your gaze towards the left side, hang out here for a second. Drop the shoulders. Now, maybe you take the right arm out. This can be really intense, especially if you're dealing with some neck things. So just be careful that you're not trying to strain with the intention of creating a lot of stretch here. Because if you've ever done this, and I'm sure some of you have, where you've gone in with the intention of stretching and suddenly something seizes or just feels suddenly just really uncomfortable. So when we come to any sort of movement like this, we want to just approach it with that soft kind of hot chocolate type of feeling, really cozy, cool, and not too forceful. Good. Now go ahead and release that right hand to the thigh with the chin still parallel to the floor and the gaze over to the left side. Now take your gaze down to the floor. Here we're working the scalenes. We've got the sternocleidomastoid, which is right out front here, kind of that muscle that kind of runs behind the ear, right to where the clavicle. And in the back here, we've got the scalenes and the upper trap. So we're just giving that space a little bit of stretch. And here I'm just taking my gaze down and I'm just gently pulling my chin towards my kind of left part of the front of the left shoulder. If you want to, you can absolutely take that right arm out. But again, if it feels like it's too much, tame it back a bit. Good. Now, before we come back to center, lift your gaze, still in that twisted position or turned position. Now pull it back in towards center. And let's just give our head a little bobble here. Really gentle movements. It's a lot on one side. We're going to do the other side. Just kind of work out any kinks here. Fantastic. Nice job. All right, let's come back in through center. And this time we're going to turn that gaze over to the right side. Chin parallel to the floor. Gaze is kind of soft and forward, not forward, to the side. Nice. You could take that left arm out if you want. Again, totally optional. This for me actually feels just amazing on this side. And just notice, like, I'll just tell you from my perspective, what I just did is I actually felt my chin kind of tilting towards the outer side of the room, so towards the front. So now what I've got there is I've got this like rotation and compression on the right side. So what I really want to do is keep my chin directly parallel. So if you find your ear kind of naturally hiking towards that right shoulder, try to just bring that back, that head into that neutral space. Now from here, release the left hand to the left thigh and then turn the gaze down. So you may notice a little pull, maybe a little opening in that upper trap. If you feel some sensation here, that might be just the right amount. If you want to explore reaching that left arm out for a little bit more opening, that's really up to you. And then just explore what works for you. Again, it's just this gaze down towards the ground. Nothing too heavy, nothing too hard. Beautiful. And then gently lift your gaze, still in that rotated position, and then come back in through center and give yourself a little bobblehead here. Just a little movement through the neck, through the shoulders if you want. Oh, fantastic. Good. Nice job, everyone. Beautiful. Now, last one for the neck today, we're just going to come back into that neutral space, growing tall through the spine. So we've been sitting here for a bit. Let's go ahead and take that front foot back and back foot forward. This can feel a little awkward for some. Always good to switch things up a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and take the right tips of our fingers to the left side of the crown, but I want you to stay tall here. And with that gentle feather touch, we're going to just gently guide the right ear over to the right shoulder. And I'm not forcing my neck here at all. I almost have very, very little touch of the hands towards the crown, but just enough that it kind of just tells my brain, hey, let's kind of tip over a little bit. If you want, you can absolutely reach the left arm out. This is entirely up to you. Keep your chin parallel. Continue to just allow that space through the vertebrae, the cervical spine. Relaxing through your hips here. If there's any kind of little bit of movement there, that little bit of kind of muscle activation, you can feel them shaking a little bit. Try to breathe into it. Just chill out. Good, looking great. Go ahead, release your hand to the right side. Oh, shake it out. A little bobblehead again. Oh, lots going on. I hope this feels okay for everyone. Good. Always good to give the neck some stretches here, some lengthening. Good. And then whenever you're ready, come back in through center. We'll take that left hand and we're going to reach and take those tips of the fingers and just gently guide the left ear over to the left shoulder. Try to just let your body kind of, maybe you take that right finger towards the floor. Try not to work against the resistance. This is your opportunity to kind of live with it, kind of work with it. We, as humans, are kind of averse to kind of strain and struggle, right? We're always seeking the path that creates less friction, less pain, less challenge. Not because we don't want the challenge or anything like that, but of course, if we're faced with something difficult, we're going to find that path that is better for us, right? But sometimes it's through those challenges that we see and seek and gain and grow. We grow in ways that we couldn't have grown had we not had those challenges. And the same thing with the body. Sometimes we have to challenge the body in different ways for it to grow, for it to get to another level. Beautiful. Release the hand, come back through center, release the neck. Find that bubble. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and uncross our feet. So one last time, we're just going to come back. We're going to get out of this in a moment, but let's uncross back through center. And what I'd like us to do is to do some upper thoracic rotation now. So if you're seated on a bolster, stay where you are. We're going to inhale and bring the arms overhead with the intention here of growing tall through the spine. Then twist towards the left and set the right hand to the left knee and just find that lift and twist. Kind of feel what it feels like in the ribs. Feel if you're rounding or collapsing. I want you to grow as tall as you can go. And we're going to do this a few times. So let's inhale, sweep through center, and then twist towards the other side. Initially, you might come to your twist and it might feel a little bit more constrained, a little bit more reserved. That's okay. Beautiful. Let's just move into the other side. Come back, lift up tall. See if you can find a little more lift, then an exhale. Come back. my daughter, Sienna, she took her first driving lesson on Tuesday, and she's never been behind the wheel of a car. And I regretted that immediately the minute I left her with the instructor because the instructor put the girls in the car. She was doing this with a friend, and they immediately went on Michigan Avenue, Highway 12. I don't know if it's a highway state. Maybe somebody here can tell me. Inhale, sweep up. And I literally almost jumped out of my skin. I'm like, oh my God. And luckily the other girl that my daughter was with lives in a remote area and is, drives tractors and things like that. So she felt very confident to get behind the wheel. Anyhow, the instructor said, don't worry, I'm gonna take your daughter out to the farm area and she can get behind the wheel there. I'm like, okay. Anyways, she came back from her session and I asked how'd it go, and she's like, I hated it. Come back in through Helsford Center, relax the hands down to the thighs. I'm gonna do some seated cat-cows here. Inhale, open up the heart. Exhale, rounded through the spine. And just flow here. Breathe in, open up the heart, shoulders back and down, heart lifts. Exhale, round through the spine. And she's like, I felt so stressed. I felt so anxious. I felt like I should have known all this stuff. I should have, right? And of course, having 30 years of driving experience, that like with anything, over time, you give yourself that space, you start to get more comfortable, you start to be able to do things with that different mindset. And that's what I said to her. I said, well, the more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get, the more relaxed you're going to be with it. You're not going to strain. And it's the same thing with our bodies, right? The more we do something, the more we move, the more opportunity we give the body to get stronger. But we need to take those small steps. Have you ever set a goal for yourself that was so big? You're like, okay, I'm going to run every single day this week for an hour. And you wake up that Monday morning, you're like, nope, not today. And then you wake up Tuesday morning and you say, nope, not today. But what if you were to set a goal that said, okay, I'm going to run 3 times this week for 20 minutes. Suddenly that feels a lot more accessible. Beautiful. Let's find our way back into neutral and just relax our body. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and come off our bolster and let's go ahead and sit down directly onto the floor. And we're going to open up our legs into a V shape here. Flex into the feet, sit our sits bones down to the ground, move the flesh over so that you have the sits bones connected down. This is going to be our last little stretch for today. So from here, I'd like you to flex your feet in. And what I'd like you to do with me today is we're going to do 2 types of forward folds. One where we're very active, and I want you to notice how it feels, and one where we're not so active. And we're going to start with the not so active one. So with the feet extended, heels reaching away, toes reaching in, take your hands and I want you to round through your spine. And I want you to walk your hands forward and just notice what you feel here. Notice if you feel the inner thighs. Notice how you feel in the back, the shoulders, the jaw, the neck. And then walk your hands through center. And I want you to restack your spine really tall as we've been getting today. And I want you to do that same thing, but I want you to come down in a long back, very active through the back. And notice how this changes the sensation. It's for me and my body, I immediately start getting that sensation running down through my inner thighs. I get a little bit of opening into the hips. Just ease into it. Let the inner thighs stretch. Find that reach. Keep the back long. Soften through the shoulders, the neck, the eyes, the low back. And then start to sweep your hands towards center and restack your spine. Bring your inner thighs together and let's glue them together and then slide your heels into a bent knee position. Good. So we're going to sit up tall here. We're going to roll the shoulder blades back and down. And we're just going to extend the arms, or we're going to make our way into a gentle boat pose here. But today we're going to keep the heels down. Just going to feel a little bit of that core activation, open up through the chest. You can always experiment with different hand motions. Maybe your arms outstretched, maybe they reach forward, maybe they open up into that nice T shape, whatever feels right for your body. And we're going to hold for a few more breaths here. Settle in. Beautiful. And then we're going to slowly use your core to pull yourself back down, pull the knees in towards the chest. And we're going to make our way into our final pose for today. Now, before we get there though, what I'd like you guys to do, if there's anything you want to do, I know Susan loves candlesticks, so maybe you'll do a candlestick. Maybe you'll do an inversion like a bridge pose or happy baby. Whatever it is, maybe you go directly into your final pose of Shavasana. So whatever you feel like your body needs today, this is your time to explore that. We'll just give ourselves a few moments here to do that last little bit for ourselves. And then go ahead and you can slowly start making your way into Shavasana, maybe with your knees resting on a bolster or the legs extended out long. Take a blanket, get your socks, get yourself nice and cozy. Beautiful. And we're going to invite our Shavasana today with 3 clearing breaths. And just like our contract and release, I want you to breathe in, feel your body, and then as you sigh out, let your body completely rest down. Release the shoulders deeper away from the ears. So take a deep breath in. Exhale out. Breathe in. Beautiful. Let's just take the next 2 minutes here to rest our eyes, our mind, our body. Wonderful, everyone. Let's start to create a little bit of movement through the fingers and through the toes. Deepen your breath and start to make some awareness of the physical body and the space around you. Now remember, this is your practice. So if you want to stay here a little longer, if that's what your body and mind is calling you for, please do. Stay a little longer. And then maybe when you're ready, you can pull the knees in. You can roll over to your favorite side just for a little moment of transition from where we were to where we're going. Just relaxing the shoulders and the head. I just want you to notice how you feel right now. Just remind yourself that this feeling that you have right now is available to you anytime you need it. It's there. It's tangible. It's just open that door and just let it in. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and press yourself up and we'll come into that nice, easy seated position. Again, you can stay where you are. I love to have sometimes that luxurious kind of longer Shavasana. So please just take whatever it is you need. Hands meet at our heart center with a gentle bow of our head towards our hands in recognition of the light that shines and lives within us all. That we are intricately interconnected despite our distance away from each other, despite our different physical and stages in life. We are all interconnected. We are all one. With a gentle bow of our head towards our hands, may your heart always stay warm. May your smile always stay broad. And may the light that shines in me honor and see the light that shines in you. Namaste. As always, I got my hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so honored to be able to practice with you and to have been able to spend the last year with you. It's been really quite a journey. I can't believe we're inching on almost 2 years in this class, so I'm really grateful for that. Thank you. From my heart to yours, I wish you the most glorious weekend, and I hope to see you sometime next week before our little time off. And I hope you have a great weekend. Love you all. Bye, everyone.